So getting on to our second panel. So we'll start out with the panel. Now, I gave Diane a little extra time in the first introduction because I knew I was going to take a little bit from it here. So first we'll have Diane from Rolling Thunder, and then we'll reach out to Steve and Mirella. So Steve, do you want to share a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I sure do. I want to thank you for the opportunity. And first of all, I want to congratulate Diane. Her organization is so admirable in what it's pursuing to do that you really have to say thank you very much. Now, about me. If you're looking at my face, I'm the oldest guy on the panel by probably about 30 years. My younger daughter and I, in 2014, formed a website called My Life's Message. And what prompted it is I've lived in 18 different places, foreign and domestic, over my lifetime. And who's going to know when I meet my maker? So on the website, you can put the email addresses of all those you want to know, like, bye-bye, I'm gone, I'm history, it was nice knowing you. Or on that same website, you can list what your burial desires are and your funeral directions, and you can put documents about where to find your safe deposit box and your will and testament and all that kind of stuff. But this is a subject of legacy, and this is where it ought to be the Jill and the Steve show, because the legacy part of it is where you can leave your life stories that you want to be remembered by. And they can be stories, for example, I was going to write a story and say, my favorite story is I love to sing. And I've been singing since I was in junior school. I sang Sleep Kentucky Babe when I was in 6th grade. I sang I'll Be Seeing You Again in my high school graduation before 1,200 people. I directed a carousel performance at Bates College where I went. And I've sung under directors like Vessel Most of the Cleveland Symphony and Howard Shore in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. A lot of stuff I want to share. And most importantly, it's what I want to leave behind for my children, my grandchildren, to say not only who were you, what was your name, but who were you as a person? And that's what My Life's Message is all about.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Mirella, do you want to share a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Of course. Thank you, Dennis, for putting this together. Just to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I am a financial advisor with MassMutual. I actually used to be an accountant before I decided to switch careers. And then I realized I wanted to do advising, but what really made me passionate about becoming a financial advisor was seeing my parents come to this country from Peru. They came here, they started their own business. Then they decided to be self-employed workers. And I saw that the lack of financial plan in their lives really put a hurdle in it. And now my father is almost 60 with no retirement plan in place. And I realized that there was a need for education in the Hispanic community. Right, so it made me even more passionate about helping small business owners. And as a female advisor in a male-dominant industry, I want to give back to those business owners, not just women and Hispanic, but also those who can use sound advice to protect their future, leave a legacy, and to be able to retire without running the chance of running out of money during retirement.
Excellent. So to start off, we will go back to Diane and let Diane talk a little bit more about the impact on not just the the people who are left behind. And I think you can address Gold Star and different things from just the whole military side of things, because there's no one who leaves a greater legacy in my mind than a soldier. And you want to share a little bit about that, Diane?
Sure, of course. We actually have different ranks in the family statuses. Blue Star family, which is me. I am an Army brat. My father served in 2 wars. My son just retired from the Army, so I'm considered a Blue Star mom. Our Silver Star moms or Silver Star families are the families who have a soldier who has been wounded severely. Maybe traumatic brain injury, PTSD, loss of legs, IEDs, which is explosive bomb devices. So those travel all over the country trying to see their families. So we raise funds for them to be able to stay at Fisher House, which is usually a house, maybe like a boarding house that is close to a veterans hospital that will house the families. And of course, the Gold Star moms are the families who have made the ultimate sacrifice, whether it's their son, daughter, husband, wife, whatever. So we, we help and sponsor so many programs. And then I remember your daughter at our nursing home, our Lions Hospital. Some of these guys are some serious bingo players, right? So these guys were either Korean War, World War II, which is the generation that is almost gone. We lose a World War II veteran every day because of their age. They're into their late 90s now. World War II ended in 1945, if I remember correctly. But those guys are older and they are really, truly dropping out. So what better way to go play bingo with them, and we bring them snacks and food and Patriot Bucks. They win money so they can go to the commissary to go buy snacks or whatever that they don't get. And we have people who make us quilts and lap blankets and crochet stuff for our nursing home. And I did tell you about our 10th veteran we have rehomed, which means that they came to the facility with absolutely nothing, just what they have on their back and in a duffel bag. And they do a 2-year program. They get clean, whether it's drugs or alcohol, some type of addiction, regardless of what it is, they have nowhere to go. So this facility rehabilitates them. They get them a job, and after 2 years, when they're ready to go on their own, where do you go? You have nothing. So HUD gets them an apartment. So you get an apartment and it's absolutely empty, right? No, not under my watch. They literally move into an apartment with absolutely everything that they need, whether it's a fork and knife and spoon, pots and pans, towels, blankets, pillows, it doesn't even matter. They go into an apartment completely furnished. And that's what we do for them. And, so we do so much more than just ride a motorcycle. We are supporting our guys who really have been forgotten by our government and by our people. For many, many years, Vietnam War veterans were called baby killers, and we can never erase the past, ever. What has happened is done and over with. We can only make the future better and never forget. That's where Rolling Thunder's legacy would come in, is to one of our coined phrases is that we will never forget. And in supporting these guys and girls who have really done the ultimate sacrifice. So I hope that answers some
questions. Oh, definitely answers the question. We'll come back to you with the final one. So next up, we'll go back to Steve and let Steve share a little bit more about the storytelling and the legacy that you guys do.
I'm going to revert back to something that Jill mentioned, that is Ancestry.com and 23andMe, which go into DNA types of thing or enumerate who one's ancestors were without telling you a clue about who they were as people. And so we look in terms of telling a story. You say, this is going to tell you about who I was as a person, what my favorite hobbies were, what kind of a person I was. I can write about being angry. I can write about dignifying people. I can do all sorts of things that I hope my children and grandchildren want to know about me. And I'm going to turn it around and say, unfortunately, most people my age are reluctant to face their demise. And so they keep postponing writing these stories rather than having the joy and challenge of putting them on paper or even recording them in a recording device. So really the burden is on children and grandchildren to go up to their parents and grandparents and say, hey, mom, hey, dad, hey, grandma, what did you do when you were a kid? Where'd you go to school? What kind of friends did you have? Did you play sports? Did you perform any kind of art, music, or dance or anything? What were you as a person? What were your jobs like? Did you have good bosses or horrible bosses? Did you have a good experience or bad experience? And that's kind of what the vitality of being able to relate these things for the benefit of our ancestors is all about.
Well, I know I just unfortunately lost my dad, who was 83, just the end of last year, last month. So, and going through and they were able to live. My parents made sure that they've lived their last 25 years like it was their last day, and we know all about it. But most importantly, it was just, we celebrated his life. We didn't mourn it, and I think it's an approach to take towards legacy. And for those left behind, it can be very helpful to really know those things and to know that someone's enjoyed their life.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Excellent, excellent. So next up, we have Mirella. You want to speak? You want to talk a little bit about the legacy shaping and planning that you do, and impact specifically on those that are left behind.
Yes, of course. So it's really, most people don't think about the day that they're going to leave this earth, right? And it's, unfortunately, when we die, some people leave behind assets. Sometimes they also leave behind liabilities. And there are a lot of times where those assets are not passed down to the loved ones that you want to be able to enjoy. And it's not passed down in the most efficient manner. And just to share a little story, just last year, I came across a family where the dad had passed away and he left behind 8 real estate properties. He liked to do real estate investments. And he also had assets in 11 different brokerage accounts and bank accounts. And he also had unpaid taxes. And even though his estate was a sizable amount, it took the family almost 2 years to be able to actually enjoy the legacy that he left behind for his family. Right, so this all could have been avoided if there was proper planning in place, if he had done proper titling of assets and use some financial products that could have mitigated some of the tax exposure. So when people ask me what does legacy mean and what does it mean when it's shaping your legacy and the impact of the people that's left behind, I say it's preparing for the unfortunate day that we leave this earth so that our loved ones aren't burdened with having to deal with the complexity of our estate and can instead take the time to mourn properly or celebrate, really, because that's also a process of grieving.
Excellent. Excellent. And now going into leaving us with one last thought. So I'll go to Steve. Steve, one last thought you want everyone to remember from this day, and how can they get in touch with you or your business?
Well, the business is called My Life's Message, and add a .com to that. You got it on the internet, or you can get it on your smartphone. My Life's Message, all in one word. I think we as people tend to underestimate or underappreciate what we inherit from our ancestors. And I'm not talking about blood and DNA. I'm talking about characteristics. For example, my father had a very high temper and was a very angry man. And so I have made it a point to bury my anger and to put a smile on my face and be a loving person. So those are characteristics that are passed down from generation to generation, and we underestimate the value of those in our own personality. By sharing stories like this, our ancestors, our children, our grandchildren will know more about us and be able to deal more with their own personal lives. So my last message is encourage young people, children, nephews, nieces, grandchildren, not to be hesitant to go to their elders, to their parents and grandparents, to ask for these stories.
Excellent. Thank you so much, sir. And next up, we'll go back to Mirella and end up with Diane. So Mirella, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, of course. So really, the importance of this is knowing that the lack of financial planning truly hurts the loved ones that are left behind, because when you're gone, they're the ones that have to deal with paying the taxes or going to court and dealing with probate. Probably if it's a difficult case, and they also have to pay the attorney fees. So they're the ones that have to deal with that, while also having to learn how to live and continue living life without you in their life anymore. Right. So the question is, ask yourselves, do you want the money you spent your entire life building, taxes, or perhaps even on attorney fees, or do you want them to be enjoyed by your family? And if you don't remember anything that I said at all today, just remember this one last thing: 201-520-9451. That's my phone number. Contact me, ask me any questions. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have millions. You may even just have one home, but it's just having the proper planning in place so that your family doesn't have to deal with more than they have to.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And finally, we'll wrap it up where we started the whole day with Diane and talking about Rolling Thunder and how to get in touch with you and what you can do.
Okay, well, we do have a Facebook page that could be followed. It is Rolling Thunder, New Jersey 3, all written out. And we post all the stuff. I have a few people who post and follow the Department of Defense, the Joint Task Force for Recovering Remains. We just brought home somebody to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery who had been recovered from Pearl Harbor. He was on the Arizona, and somehow, some way, I'm not sure, but his remains are now buried at Arlington, which is incredible. There's nothing more patriotic than standing in a flag line to honor our fallen and honoring our guys coming home. But we can be reached there, and we can, my phone number, 908-343-9836. I could be text or called, and I can answer any questions. Supporting our military is my passion. I love doing what I do, and it shows because of the achievements we have made. We have, not to pat myself on the back here, but we have won 2 wonderful, prestigious awards. My Brother's Keeper, which is an award given to an organization through the state of New Jersey. And the meaning of My Brother's Keeper is exactly that. Even though it's a brother, it's in the military structure, it's brother. And we do take care of things that aren't being taken care of. So, and we also have won a Medal of Valor, which is the highest honor in the military. As a chapter, we were awarded a Medal of Valor because of all the fabulous work we do. And, it makes me proud to wear that on my my chest. Obviously, we don't wear the Medal of Valor. That is for, somebody to be honored, but we did make a patch out of the actual medal, and we wear that proudly. It's a lot of work, and but it's so rewarding at the end. I will do that with or without recognition and until my last breath.
And I can attest that you are a working fiend when it comes to helping out our military and people. Just a beast at it. Now, are there any of the raffles left for that wonderful bike that you guys raffle off? Are there some raffle tickets left?
I have, right now we are raffling off a bike. The money and the proceeds from that motorcycle helps veterans throughout our country, nationwide. It is if you win the bike this year, somebody, a very wonderful benefactor to Rolling Thunder, has promised to pay the taxes, so we do not have to pay the taxes this or the winner of the, and so you're really only buying a Harley Davidson, fully custom and fully stocked. It's a beautiful bike.
Excellent. So what we'll do is when we share out this video and the recording, we'll have a link to that so that people can get some of those tickets.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everyone for participating today. Again, there's nothing more important than shaping your legacy. You shape it here. You shape it every day, whether you realize it or not. And you know, I know everyone here is making sure to help people to do the best to shape their legacy. And I want to say thank you. We appreciate that. And if anyone has any questions or anything, they can reach out. I'll make sure all of your contact information is in with your videos, and we'll cut up the different sections and have some content back to you all. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, for attending,